This video contains spoilers from Enkonomiya questline and other world quests. So I was doing the 5 book quest in Enkonomiya and one simple line stuck with me. A line from a sin shade called Ante. It was those people from khaenri'ah. They were the ones who stole the library book. I was assigned as one of their bodyguards, sure, but there is no way I would have been in cahoots with them. Hi, I'm Enkonomiya. As usual, it's not easy with those small little details that doesn't match up with the current information. So I fell into another rabbit hole searching for clues for khaenri'ah, a rabbit hole known as the creation myth. After exploring Enkonomiya a bit and going around doing quests here and there, I came across this book that is a stone tablet that contains more words than it can probably handle. It was called Before Sun and Moon. This book dragged me into reality that we are no longer dealing with the history of just Teyvat, but a whole separate realm. There is the continent we are right now, Teyvat, and there is the continent where khaenri'ah is from, and the dark sea that is sandwiched between the two. It's like the no man's land for the refugees, rejects, whatever you want to call it, from the two continents. Before we look into the creation myth, few notes. Keep in mind that the people of Enkonomiya came from Teyvat, so origins according to them are also the origins of the world according to Teyvat. Note that Enkonomiya was called Tokoyo and Byakoyakoku in the past. This story is very cryptic, confusing and contradicting. I call it the 3 C's of creation. That was written in something like Shakespeare's English. I'll try to explain it in the best way I understood the story. The way someone else might understand this will be different, but I can't help with that. How each individual perceives things may vary depending on their background. So I ask you to watch this video with an open mind. A long time ago, the old world was ruled by 7 dragon lords. Just like now, Teyvat is ruled by 7 archons. The 7 terrifying sovereigns, dragon lords of the old world. Then a being called the Primordial One, who has wings and a crown, who was born from an egg, came down from the real heaven. It had wings and a crown, and was birthed from an egg. It splits into 4 shards, the Primordial One itself, and 3 other beings. The Primordial One created shining shards of itself, and the number of these shards were 4. Primordial One and its 3 other shining shards did not hear. I personally think these 3 are the 3 celestial gods from the 6 eyes in the domain mural. It was supposed to create the world anew by breaking another egg. For the world to be created, the egg's shell had to be broken. I assume this egg might be the Genesis pearl. Well, snakes do love stealing bird eggs, just like how it's shown by the snake around the pearl. But that never happened. Instead, the Primordial One separated the universe from the world using the eggshell. However, fans, the Primordial One used the eggshell to separate the universe and the microcosm of the world. First, the connection with the egg and the creation of the world sounded like Chinese creation myth, where the first titan, Tengu, created the universe, heaven and earth, inside an egg within pure chaos. After he hatched, he separated heaven and earth with his bare hands. After overexerting himself, he died, and from his body, other things in the world was created. He had a bad fleas problem, and those fleas became humans. But as you figure it out by now, after the egg part, the story falls off. That's where we can plug in other creation myths. The Japanese creation myth contained the part where the upper heavens sent Izanami and Izanagi to create the world. The Gnostic creation myths come next, where Demiurge was banished from the real heavens and created Earth to become the false god, separating Earth from the universe and the real heaven. If I were to take a guess, I would say the original Primordial One was an aeon from Honkai Star Rail, which are beings on the universal power scaling. But take this with a grain of salt, since Star Rail is still in beta. Back to Genshin. Then, since the Primordial One did not recreate the world, the Primordial One had to go into battle with the 7 Dragon Kings, or as they are called now, bishops, for 40 years using harsh winters and summers, and killed all the 7 dragon kings. And their survivors went into hiding in the Dark Sea, where they made their own realm known as Bishop Realm. After the Primordial One's victory, heaven and earth were created, possibly to split the world to separate Celestia and the Irminsul tree. The Primordial One, the Great Sovereign, began the creation of heaven and earth for our sakes. It says for our sakes, but "our" is in quotation marks, which is a red flag. Was separating the world a good choice for the people, or would that backfire later? After 400 years, the Primordial One and one of the shards created mountains, rivers, seas, animals, trees, and finally, humans. The mountains and rivers were made, and the seas and oceans accepted those who rebelled and those who would not kneel. The Primordial One and one of its shards created the birds of the air, the beasts of the earth, and the fish of the sea. Together, they also created flowers, grass, and trees, before finally creating humans. Then humans came into an agreement with the Primordial One and was given the sacred land to stay in, which I believe is Tibet. They were also promised food and rain from the heavens and ores and riches from the earth. Basically, a water cycle was implanted, so humans can grow and make food and chemical reactions in the earth that make precious materials. All this was on one condition: temptation was a taboo. But as we all know, humans are like cats, curious and easily tempted. And if you are a human with temptations, hit that like and subscribe buttons because you are tempted to do so. After some time, a being similar in strength came into conflict with the Primordial One, and the battle ended in, according to what I understood, a draw. Although some Enkonomiya people think the second who came lost. During this battle, the earth collapsed, heaven fell down, and then Enkonomiya fell into the Dark Sea through the collapsed earth. Take this with a grain of salt. This second who came might be the opposite split of the Primordial One. Just like the Primordial One split into 4 light shards from the original Primordial One, second who came also split and rolled the earth with its own 4 shards, when the Primordial One rolled the heavens. As I said before, the story is written by someone from the Tibet side, so we can't tell for sure who is who. But there is always 2 sides to this world, no matter what. Although for the Western fan base, it's an unfamiliar concept, it's hinted everywhere. The Dark Sea is where the bishops that were chased away by the Primordial One lived and used as their hunting grounds. But with the power of 1,000 lanterns, Enkonomiya people managed to chase away the bishops temporarily. Enjo said that Enkonomiya is placed in the middle of 3 realms: the human realm, bishop realm, and the void realm. But I am not sure if Enkonomiya is the human realm or something in between the 3. It's most probably the former, since it's told Enkonomiya was like a junction to the realms. Well, every triangle has 3 junctions connecting each other, and the human realm made high towers, so they don't get in conflict with the Abyss Void realm and Bishop realm battles, which matches with the high building architectures of Enkonomiya. Also by this time, the Primordial One stopped responding. The reason is unknown, but it's possible that it's either got heavily injured that it was unable to move, or it could no longer hear its people from the Dark Sea. And both happening is possible too. After 3 years in the Dark Sea, the people of Byakuya-koku started obsessing over god of time, Ishtaroth, or as the people of Tokoyo said, Kairos. The way it is told, it sounds like the people of Enkonomiya were so desperate with no light and fear of life, they resorted to worshipping time. Just pay close attention to how it's written. They sound like people who have lost hope and obsessed over something. Ruler of time. She was the moment. She was every moment. She was the measure of 1,000 winds, and the sun and the moon. She was every second of joy, every moment of rage, every instant of longing, every minute of obsession. She was every flash of delirium. This immediately set off red flags in my head that she might just not be a real god, like Rex Lapis or Raiden Makoto. For that matter, she might not even be real, because the power to control time is just too powerful. When compared with even the current strongest god, Morax, let's say she is powerful and did exist. What is she doing in the Dark Sea when she could have easily taken a Gnosis? Either she is made up, or is one of the 3 celestial overseers, or the 3 shards, which will make things even more complicated, since then she becomes a part of the primordial one who did not respond to the people. This might also explain a bit about where Venti's connection to the god of time came from. Enjo has a line about the baptismal bishops. Yes, pure primordial elemental creatures, wild spirits who never bent the knee to any god or worldly power. Just like Venti, who went against a god. In the baptismal bishop experimental records, humans did different experiments on the bishops to evolve them into different elements. And according to the In the Light Beneath the Shadows tablet, there is a riddle that says bishops can shapeshift into humans. I believe that Venti might be a mutated baptismal bishop from Enkonomiya that escaped with the Orobashi's evacuation to the surface plane. Back to the history lesson. From here on out, the way the story was recorded started becoming more like a record in short bullet points and less like a twisted story written in weird English. After some time, a man named Abrax created the Helios, which brought the day and night cycle to Byokoya. I am not telling that word again. This was the beginning of a new era where Enkonomiya changed for the good or the bad. It's hard to say where Abrax got his wisdom. Some say he just awakened it. Others say he was a disciple of Istaroth. But in my opinion, the most down-to-earth explanation is that he learned it from khaenri'ah technology. There are hints of khaenri'ah having connections all around this place. During this time, the nobles used the Helios as a god and placed a child as a ruler or sun child, who is falsely chosen by the Helios and was used as a puppet ruler. And to keep the general public from knowing Helios is created by a normal human just like them and not a god, they put Abrax in house arrest and after his death was sealed up. If this info got out, the Sunchild possession will also be exposed publicly and will crumble the structure of corrupted feudal system. But after some time, one of the Sun children found Orobashi, who ran off from the Archon War in a cave. He asked the serpent god to become their god. Orobashi accepted the offer and became their god. The power flipped again, the Sun children were no more, and the priests and shrine maidens took over. After another few years, Orobashi brought them back to the surface. This is probably after Raiden Makoto was appointed as the Electro Archon, since if Orobashi interferes during that time, it might have died long ago. But if my theory about Venti is correct, Orobashi might have come to the surface during Decarabian's era 2600 years ago from now. That's where the story of Enkonomiya ends. Remember I said something about khaenri'ah acting sus one day before Enkonomiya was evacuated by stealing this book that had this much information? Well, they are sus. That's all I can say for now. Hopefully I find a lead or information that are not yet out will be unraveled soon. When that happens, I will be making a theory about that. So if you are interested, do subscribe to the channel so you will not miss that. Or if you like lore digging through theories and speculations, do subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. With that note, I end my observations. You might have perceived what was on that tablet differently. But hey, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. And why not watch this video where I go in depth and broke through the conventional law and made a theory about heaven and earth, which we got to know today. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.